Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Writer's Block Party Podcast. I'm your host, RC Cepeda. We are a podcast about creators being creative. We come up with ideas for a movie, TV show, or product, and we get to invite you along for the journey and the process. In today's episode, we sit down with a very funny and talented actress and voice teacher, Shannon Hollander. We go over some really funny, silly ideas. Let's have some fun. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's have some fun.
And go!
Some fun. Hi, welcome to another episode of the Writer's Block Party Podcast. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New
Year,
Year.
Shannon.
Happy New Year,
Andy. How
RC.
are you feeling? Today we have your co-host, Andy Godzilla.
Hello.
And the very, very funny Shannon Hollander.
Hi.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
Oh my god, thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you. We want to give a shout out to our good friends at Trash Animals Podcast.
Oh.
So let's face it, we're all super fucking weirdos. The Trash Animals Podcast is a show that celebrates the weirdness and embarrassing parts of life. The host, CJ, who's a good friend of mine, my old roommate from back in Rio Grande Valley, Texas,
Oh wow.
and his friend Carlos, they talk shit and share stories from their past and present, recounting all the cringiest moments of life. We've all had those. I'm already thinking of a lot. New episodes drop every Monday. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or anywhere you get your podcasts, just like ours. So drop them a line and share your embarrassing stories at trashanimalspodcast@gmail.com. Trash Animals Podcast. Let's get weird.
Oh, Trash Animals Podcast. Getting weird.
Getting weird with the Trash
that.
Animals.
I like that tagline.
That is a good one,
right?
Weird.
That is
That's a
good.
one.
That is
So
really good.
let's actually, we can get weird as well.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
get
into it.
super weird.
So yes, the Writer's Block Party Podcast, in case you're not familiar, is about creatives being creative.
Ooh.
I consider us each individual creatives.
The most creative.
The
so
most
creative.
creative.
The
Yes.
most creative people you
So
ever
we're gonna come up with a cool idea for something fun and something cool. Are you ready?
I am so ready.
Good. Coffee. I think this might be the earliest episodes we've shot in the morning.
Oh, yeah, I think you're all drinking coffee.
Yes.
So it's a good deal.
Instead of tequila, is that how it normally
Yes.
is?
I actually have a little tequila in mine. Just kidding.
Oh, wise
Yeah.
man.
We bought donuts that nobody ate, which makes me really sad because they're the world's most expensive donuts.
After this, I'm gonna chow down for sure. He called me and I was like, "Yeah, go nuts with the donuts."
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yep, there you
God.
go.
Just
There
send the
you
tone.
go.
I'm setting the tone.
I
There you go.
immediately threw my phone out the window after he said that.
It's gonna be a long episode.
Oh, you have no idea.
She actually has some idea because her and I used to work previously.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And the reason why I have her on is because of the dynamic we have. It's literally like me saying something and she's just like, "I hate you."
I fucking hate you so much.
I hate you too. So
I'm
we're
really
all on the
She,
same
hated, she
page.
hates me so much she wanted to be on the podcast.
So much. I was like, I hate RC so much. I'd like to spend more time with him.
Would you just call people who dislike you? Is that
Pretty much, yeah. It's my way of like getting them to love me. I'm
You're
like,
no
you know,
longer in charge of booking.
Yeah, maybe you should take this
Maybe
one
should we
over.
get people who like you? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
all right.
fuck
Well, we have Shannon. She ready, Shannon?
you. Oh, I'm
you ready?
ready. I'm so
All right.
ready.
So you have three options:
Okay.
movie, TV show, product.
Okay. And product, if
Could be
I
anything.
understand, is like a video game. I can do
It could
that.
be a
Could
video
be
game.
anything.
It could be a song. It could be a game show. It could be anything outside the lines of a movie, your traditional movie or TV show.
Well, I want to make a video game because
Yes.
I know a guy, and if it's good, we could like totally pitch this sucker.
Sorry, everyone else high-fived and I got nothing.
It's too far. The reach is
I'm
too
way
far.
over here.
I have T-Rex arms. I'm sorry. give me a T-Rex high five.
It's
You
gonna
can
take
do it.
forever.
You can do it.
Or-
I'll just like push
Our
you together.
hands are. It looks weird.
All right, video game. This is the
Video
first.
game.
This is amazing. Awesome.
Video game.
Okay.
All right.
Video game. Perfect. So I got three titles for you.
Whew.
That actually one could work. Okay.
Okay.
I got Oh Snap,
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh snap.
Stage 5 Clinger,
Ooh, that seems.
or Elimination with the hyphen.
I hate you so
I
much.
already hate that one. I hate that
You're
one.
gonna
a
hear that a
lot.
lot, by the way.
I feel like it has to be. I mean, I am viscerally responding to Stage 5 Clinger, and that then the video game is about getting rid of your Stage 5 Clinger, like getting to
That's-
freedom.
That is a cool aspect. I can
Are
see
we
that.
going with the actual definition? Well, definition. The Urban Dictionary definition of Stage 5 Clinger? Is that
We can come up with whatever.
That's what I'm wondering. How are you feeling?
It could literally be like a thing that clings. It's like a little animal or an alien.
That's what I mean.
And you get to level 5 and stage 5, and they're like, no.
So you're telling me we have a video game that only has 5 levels?
But they're long levels.
Like it could be an open world, and this clinger just keeps coming back.
I can see that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You gotta find that it's a quest for personal freedom.
Okay. That sounds so amazing.
I want my personal space back.
Yeah.
Stage 5 clinger.
Stage 5
so
clinger.
So the clinger really involves no actual, like, it's not going to kill you, but it's just going to drive you nuts.
Yeah, it's just gonna drive you nuts.
Okay.
Well, you know what?
Maybe it could kill you. It could suck in your life force.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like stage 5 clingers. That's what they do.
Yeah, they do.
They're bringing you down.
So we're so you're feeling stage 5 clinger.
I'm feeling stage.
So
I mean,
excellent.
I have
It's
a
official.
visceral
Let's
response
officialize it.
as to what that is.
I feel good
and
about
I can't choose.
I wish we had like a
anything as
notary
dumb
public
as
here that could
eliminate
officialize it.
stage.
Officiate.
You know what? That's interesting. I actually am a notary public. If you need me and you're in the county of Los Angeles, please look me up. Have a good day.
Dude,
Right here, notary public work.
yeah, you're gonna get calls from me. I need a notary. I need a notary.
You know what's weird? It's the dumbest job in the world.
But so random. How does one become a notary?
I have a
I
day
thought
job.
notary. I just think like taxidermy for some reason. I don't know why.
It's not at all that. It's the
Nothing like that,
furthest
right?
thing from God. If that was no.
I hear notary. I think of the show The League.
Yeah,
And he was a notary, or they'd had a notary because the woman that was the notary was a.
See you next Tuesday.
Yeah, Taco was a notary on that show, and every time I tell people I'm a notary, I feel the same exact way. I'm like, yeah, let's sign
said
stuff.
it, and I was like, "There's a real life taco in my presence."
Let's.
All right.
Not
hold
a
on.
real life taco.
We're speaking my language. I love tacos.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Quest for personal freedom.
Wow.
Suck in the life force.
Sucking
Gotcha.
the
I
life
like
Okay.
force.
Now let's go into the video game aspect, right?
Okay.
Like 2D, 3D kind of thing. Like what kind of visuals are you thinking?
Ooh, I mean,
Mobile.
What kind of
Console.
platform?
game. I think
So
console
you want like
game.
an Xbox 3?
Yeah.
You want to? Do you have a platform? Do you have a system you like?
I think it would be PS4 because I think that's
I like that. I like
the better
that.
system.
Wow.
You're absolutely right.
Wow.
It is.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. I'm an Xbox.
Yeah,
kind of
you know
guy.
what? I still have a
that sucks for
PlayStation.
you.
It
I'm
does.
sorry.
I don't even have one. I didn't have a TV, but I play. I have a projector and I play on my laptop.
That's how my boyfriend James, he travels with a little mini projector and he will project his games.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
smart. That's brilliant. Actually, I kind of want a Nintendo Switch.
I kind of want one
amazing.
too.
It sounds
Switch is so
awesome,
good.
and I like the idea that it's portable.
Yeah.
I know we're getting a little off topic, but I do like the idea that it's portable,
Yeah.
and I can go home
Not
and
off
play.
topic.
Yeah.
Let's you want to visual. That's a console in a sense, right?
It
Because
is
you
a
plug it in.
console.
And it can be so maybe we make a Switch game. I don't know. I'm less
I haven't
familiar
played Switch
with
enough
that
to-
as
I'm
a
not
familiar with it
console.
as well.
Okay, so never
Let's
mind.
do
Let's
basic.
base it
Let's
as a
look at
console. Okay.
Xbox. If it's on a PlayStation, it could probably be on Xbox.
That's true.
Exactly.
and probably
Multi-platform.
Switch. It's
But
multi-platform.
ultimately, like it being a console game, it's going to be a little bit larger
Yes.
in scope, right?
Yeah.
So not quite as small as the mobile game. And I think I love old school like 2D graphics, but I think if we're going to go for the larger console, might as well go whole hog and make it like 3D.
Go whole hog. I've never heard that.
Sounds
saying.
like somebody
Never
from
heard
That sounds
Missouri.
like someone from Missouri. Exactly.
Such a Missouri thing to say.
And just to remind you, Kansas City is the most dominant city in all of Missouri.
That is not
And
true
it starts.
at all. St. Louis, Missouri, it is the original. It is the place to be. And specifically where I'm from, St. Charles, Missouri, which is just outside of St. Louis.
See, you're not even from St. Louis.
Is the original capital of the state. I need for everyone to know that. St. Louis and all of the surrounding counties are amazing.
I feel like
Casey can suck it.
Oh my God! Oh God! Nobody's gonna watch
Sponsored
the show
by-
now. You realize most of our fan base is out of Kansas City, Missouri.
That really sucks for you.
Listen, Kansas Cityans, I'm sorry I didn't know our booking was a St. Louis person today.
Sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce of.
You're welcome.
Sponsored by St. Charles, Missouri.
I'm here to
We're in
ruin
St.
your
Louis.
day.
You're not in St. Louis. You're in St. Charles. It doesn't
Okay,
matter.
regardless
Anyway.
of where it is. Whole hog.
Whole hog.
Let's go whole hog.
Yeah,
love whole
I'm gonna
hog.
eat the whole hog.
That's a lot of pork.
So much bacon.
You're already past Thanksgiving. Okay,
That's
whole
not
hog.
what you
So
eat at Thanksgiving.
You don't know that?
I mean, I would.
I
But yeah.
eat.
Let's think. Okay, so the stage 5 clinger obviously is the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Or
I like the idea of him like
Well, wait.
Kinda like
So
swooping in
for
and
our listeners, should we maybe explain what a stage 5 clinger is? We're assuming, and not that you guys are idiots, but we're assuming that you know what it is. Some people may not.
Have the same
we all know what it is.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what a stage 5 clinger is?
For me, a stage 5 clinger, and I don't know, this might not be the Urban Dictionary.
I don't know.
I have no idea. But like,
a
stage 5 clinger is just someone that is needy, that you cannot get rid of, that is literally sucking your life force because they need to be around you all the time. So it's basically anyone that I encounter.
Aha! So you're very familiar with stage 5 clingers.
I mean,
are you a stage 5 clinger? Is that what you're implying?
No, I can't get rid of them. I gotta beat them off with a stick. Is
fair
what
enough.
I'm saying.
All right, fair enough.
She's at stage 10. She's like surpassed it. She's a whole new Urban Dictionary definition.
Okay, so we know our baseline then is somebody. We want to keep it in the idea that somebody is sucking the life force. So is this person an alien? Is this person a physical person?
Okay.
Is that the fun of it? Is it more like a invasion of the body snatchers type thing?
I like the perspective of a female lead as
I do too.
Tomb Raider than like it could just be like a real needy like, hey babe, how you?
Well,
he comes
and
into the game,
bro. A really soft, emotional bro.
Things like what if there are multiple clingers,
levels of the clingers.
Multiple levels of clingers? Like if it's a female protagonist is our like main character that we're going through this game with, maybe it starts with like her mom won't stop calling.
Oh my god!
You know,
right,
I can't relate to that in any way, shape, or form. And then
your
maybe it moves on to like the boyfriend that is like, I love you so much, I can't not.
I like that.
So we need the first 4 levels, which I like. So we should develop the 4. Let's start with the levels. I like what you're doing. So kind of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So tell us again, what's the first level clinger?
Well, I think if we're going through
life,
what is stage 1?
Then maybe it would be like a mother or a parent figure, right?
Like a helicopter mom?
Yeah, because that's the first thing you have to learn to escape, right? Is you have to learn to escape your parents to be in.
So okay.
So is she going through like
is
she's
it
a
stages
teenager?
Of life?
Yeah.
I love it.
I think
I love it. That's great.
And you're moving through looking for like personal freedom.
Yeah. It's a real cynical game, by the way. So when you grow up and you go through life, here's the bullshit you have to go through every fucking stage of your life.
Tell your mom to stop fucking calling you.
The suicide rates are going up.
Yeah, wow.
Leave me alone.
Okay, I like this. This is great, actually. That's a great idea. So now we are at a level where we have 5 distinguishable rounds, which can have
life levels.
Multiple things going on. We can include like villainous guys, which I think, honestly, and maybe you might disagree, I don't know. I don't know what kind of guy you're into or what kind of guys you date.
I mean, all of them.
I don't want. I like making fun of bros as much as possible. Now, granted, I am a backwards cap wearing kind of guy, and I like a little fluff every now and then. That sounds weird, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I like. Sometimes I look like a bro. I'm not a bro. I'm about as basic as it gets. But like, you meet those guys who are extra, so extra in my head, and I'm thinking, wouldn't that be great if they're just the bullshit you have to navigate around?
Oh yeah,
that's an everyday thing for females.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%.
That should be the constant flow. Are the kind of guys you date?
Are you bromophobic?
I'm not bromophobic. Whoa. So here's the thing. RC.
A bit like you are though.
RC's a bro.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Don't tell him. So he doesn't know.
You're not brophobic. You're just anti-RC.
I'm just. You know what it is? It's mostly I hate RC. Here's the thing. If you walk through life, I work in a place like my day job is very much like I deal with the salt of the earth. Let's put it that way. And it is these wealthy, affluent, rich bros. They're all just a bunch of bros every day, and
this is a deep-seated.
It's a deep-seated thing. But I feel like
I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
No.
Should we start charging?
We should. There's a couch.
I don't have an emotional problem with this. I'm just simply saying.
Lay down, please.
So we start if we're going through the phases of life. We need to establish because you can't just have your level boss essentially be one and done. We have to have a build up to that one and done. So how do we get where do we start? Do we start from the birth of someone?
I see what you're saying.
Do you literally create a character maybe that is birthed And you could pick male, female. You could pick, or do we want it to be just straight female character every time?
That is, I mean, I feel like if you're gonna go that way, then I would want to torture people and just have like that like scene from Knocked Up where everybody has to see it.
Actually,
and you push
cool.
you push A and B to get out.
Yeah.
Like,
you have to wiggle out of the womb.
The womb wiggle.
I mean, that is like your first.
Fucked up as it is. You've seen graphic horror video games.
That's true.
That can't be any worse than that. And it's the birthing life
Great.
of life.
So
this is beautiful.
That's the epitome of wiggle room. Right?
Right.
You have to A-B that all the way out.
That's your first challenge, is to wiggle your way
what?
of the womb. That's how you. I mean,
That's
you're the
beautiful.
original. Oh, that's kind of lovely because you're the original clinger, right?
Do you have to cut the umbilical cord?
Yes.
Is the first round I got an idea. Wouldn't you know how the games when they start your first round, your setup is literally just it's establishing your characters, it's establishing a story,
the controls
and it's telling you how to work the game basically.
Yeah.
This would be a beautiful way to teach you the interactive of the game while you're playing it, because then right at the beginning you're like, okay, I'm building a character, which you're creating your character, which I think that's the other thing as you go along through life. It's kind of like the game of life, but really fucked up.
Yeah.
And it could be all the weird fucked up parts of life that maybe we take for granted, but we can expose that. And so maybe we teach people how to use the controls by like going, okay, this is the kind of interaction you're going to have through this game. So maybe our birthing round is our tutorial round, basically.
Yeah, well, I love that, and I kind of love the idea of like okay, if you start in story mode, right, and all you see is like the light sort of like pulsing, like, but you don't know
beautiful.
what it is.
I like that.
Pulsing.
That's a great start because you're like, what's going on?
Like, where am I? What am I? It looks like you're in some like holy hell of whatever, and then you learn that you have to A-B your way right out of the womb, and then. Maybe you have to, like, you come out and you're already have a physical prowess, so you have to, like, go and cut your own umbilical cord, like jump off the table.
So you're just like a little slimy baby crawling around?
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
as
so
disgusting
like
as this
fighting
is.
for your own independence.
I'd play this game once.
Yes.
I'd probably get past it. I'm like, I can't. This is already too intense.
And then the decisions you make, like if you use like a rusty nail or like.
Whoa! First of all, what kind of operating room has a rusty nail? Let me see. Scalpel, scissors, surgical tools. Oh, rusty nail.
No, but I'm saying the
Well,
decision
the logical
you make,
choice.
like if you could use a rusty nail, then years later you realize, oh shit, I have this disease.
I have tetanus.
Why did I make the decision?
Oh,
to
that's
cut
weird.
My umbilical cord
It's so
with a
weird.
rusty nail?
I'm gonna die. I have an iron deficiency. The irony of ironies.
It's like a long played out
Yeah.
Oregon Trail.
It's okay, but that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Oregon Trail, the reason the game was so
Oregon
fun
Trail.
is because it carried you along and it allowed you to make decisions, which is
Right.
basically what a video game is.
And you're invested because you're like, oh, the grandma, no.
No, Grandma, no.
Joe.
You know, honestly, though, I realized Grandma was dead weight every time. You got to just know.
Yeah, you gotta get rid
the
of Grandma.
old folk.
Kick her out.
What purpose are they serving?
her out.
You have the whole trail to get their stories, get halfway through, let them die of dysentery.
Have you ever played the card game version of Oregon Trail?
No.
Oh, it
didn't
is
know there was one.
savage. Like, you'll just flip over a card and it's like, you're dead now. It's
Oh,
like, well,
shit.
my whole plan is done.
That's awesome.
It's
Okay,
great.
okay. We got cut your own cord.
Yeah, cut your own cord. But I think that's great. That's the first
So
level.
is that a mini game?
Yeah, that's your, like, intro. I liked what you were saying about it being, like, your intro to, like, this is how this game is going to work. We're setting
getting
up
used
the
to the
world.
controls.
Okay, so is it kind of like, okay, this is going to sound dumb, and I've never really gotten into, like, The Sims and Fortnite and all these really invested, character-driven, Minecraft. I don't really get into the RPGs very much.
Okay.
So this feels very much like an RPG, which is great. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with that, but in comparison to like the idea of Sims, which is basically life, you're literally. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember the movie Hot Tub Time Machine. I don't know if anybody's familiar.
Oh.
But in that movie, there's a reference where Clark Duke is playing a game and he's in prison in the game, and John Cusack's like, just get out of. Are you still in prison? And he's like, yeah, you got to put in the time.
Yeah.
And all he's doing is he's literally doing push-ups in prison, and you're like, what the fuck is this? But
Yeah.
it's hilarious because he's willing to spend the time in prison until his time is up, as opposed to just fucking probably hitting a button and getting out of prison.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. We could get that involved with it, and that's the open world aspect of it, or we can drive the story. So
Yeah. how
open do you want it to be, or how driven do you want the story to drive it? Is there a fail-safe, I mean, that'll allow you to continue on without being stuck somewhere? Or do we want to let people die along the way, I guess?
I kind of think, like, sort of in terms of Red Dead, where it's like your character needs to, like, take a nap or whatever, you can just, like, take a nap and it saves it. Cool. And it saves it, and, like, now life is restored. Because, you know, I feel like this game, what we've created thus far, does put it in less of like this huge open world category and more of like standard levels that we're going through, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So not so much open world concept,
aspects. But I feel like if we're going through the stages of life and looking for personal freedom within those stages of life, it would function almost more like standard levels with like a tad bit of open worldness, in the sense that like you could make a wrong choice and things could mess up. You know, you could discover, like, what I always loved about like old school Mario was that there you would find hidden things, go down this portal, but it was still contained. It wasn't like I gotta go.
It was a little mini sub level into that's
it wasn't
great.
like, oh, I have to ride this horse for like 4 fucking hours.
It was go through a tunnel, basically.
It was like go through a tunnel. Great, I found a bunch of coins. That was a cool bonus. So I think like mini open world in that way, in the
almost
sense
like a little mini detour.
Bonuses,
like
so bonus rounds.
Like little bonus areas.
It's like life bonuses.
But not necessarily like huge. Let's explore every teeny tiny crevice, because that becomes overwhelming.
It does.
For me.
That's too much stuff. We need to contain it.
This is not like a 60 to 80 hour game.
It's not Grand Theft Auto,
this
basically.
Like a 20 to 30 hour game,
maybe.
So speaking of like a little sidestep, let's take a little sidestep. Put a pin in that.
Okay.
I got it written down. Because I think the audience and I would love to learn more about you.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. This is the get to know your guest portion of the show.
Shannon Hollander.
Shannon.
I've been saying it wrong this whole time.
Yeah, it's really embarrassing for you.
Shannon Hollander. So, actress, voice teacher.
Yeah, actress, voice teacher, whatever they'll let me do.
Tell us about that.
So
give us a little recap.
A little recap. Let's see. Well, I'm an actress. I guess we'll start there. I've done a couple shows you would have seen, like Superstore and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's great. What'd you do on those shows?
So I played a pregnant woman on Superstore.
Excellent.
Yep. And I played the assistant to Constance Zimmer on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where it was the first like job I ever booked.
Oh, cool.
Nice. Yeah.
When was this?
This was a couple years ago.
Excellent.
And yeah, I was very excited because I love Constance Zimmer so much, and I also love, like, I'm such a dork, so I love like Marvel.
We know that.
Obviously, we love Marvel. That's amazing
so
already.
I was like, this is like great, and I'm a huge Joss Whedon fan. His brother works on that show, all the things.
Nice.
So that was like a really fun way to start my time in LA.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, that, and then I have a movie that just got picked up by the Orchard. That'll hopefully have like limited release in March.
What's the name of the movie?
It's called Starfish.
And are you just in it? Did you produce it? Did you write it?
No, I'm just in it.
Excellent.
I'm just in it.
No, that's not a bad thing. I just want to make sure we get to know everything you're doing, so we can tell.
Well, so it's a movie that my very good friend, he wrote, directed. It's his first big feature.
Cool.
So in some ways, I was a part of creating it because I helped him make the teaser, which then like got him all the stuff, and in order to make it, you know.
So there's a teaser out that we can watch.
Oh, you can't watch it. It's secret.
Oh, so it's a movie
She's
that
like,
nobody can watch.
Ali can watch it. RC, you can't watch it.
No.
Well, when do you expect to release it generally?
Oh, so the teaser nobody can ever see. The movie will be released in March.
When you said you did a teaser, you mean you did like a sizzle reel
for
the movie?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
so like a test of the movie, like kind of an idea of what you
100%.
wanted to do. Gotcha.
So that's what I'm saying.
Which is
like
why
in
nobody
terms
will
of
see
like
it.
production sort of stuff, I was a part of that,
Cool.
but not necessarily a part of that.
No, that's okay. That's awesome. But you're in the movie. And what part do you play in this movie?
So it follows one character as she's dealing with like the loss of her best friend and like her marriage breaking up, all of these things, and it's a non-linear story, and it goes through like there's an anime sequence. It's very tied to
cool.
Music. It's super cool. It's beautiful. Al did an incredible job. We premiered at Fantastic Fest in Austin this year.
Oh, cool.
So that was really cool.
Very cool.
And it did. Yeah. I
Texas.
ate so much queso. It was amazing. And it did really well in festival circuits and got a lot of buzz.
That's awesome.
So she has to go to a funeral in the early part of the movie, and I am one of the people at the funeral. We have a conversation.
Awesome. Very cool.
All that stuff.
That's
Yeah.
So that'll
exciting.
be out in March.
It'll be out in limited release. Yeah, we're not
Are we
going to
be able to see it out here?
Yeah, LA will definitely be able to see it.
Because if you're not in LA, you're nowhere.
Yeah, but it's like it's an
I'm just kidding.
artsy movie, and it's got horror, and it's really, really,
All the
really
things.
well. All the things.
I love
It's
it.
All the things.
That's excellent.
All
Well, very
the
cool.
things.
Awesome.
We'll make sure we put a little plug for you
sure.
here.
Yeah,
That's
do it.
excellent.
Does
Well,
it-
very
does it-
cool.
Yeah.
Does it have like a stage 5 clinger kind of character that goes into your?
You know, it doesn't, because she's solitary the whole time. So maybe we're like working towards that sort of life. Well, I guess so. I have 2 tortoises. And my tortoise, and my tortoise came from this movie. So if anyone, the tortoises would be the stage 5
Wait. You're talking
players.
about actual tortoises?
Yeah, actual tortoises.
And you stole them from the movie?
No.
That's how they paid you.
No.
They paid
How do you
in
steal tortoises?
No, so like I said, my friend Al wrote it, and I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what I suspect, is I, for years, have said that I wanted pet tortoises, so he made, and he was writing this movie with a solo character. It's basically one woman's journey, but you have to have a companion,
You have to have
right?
somebody, yeah.
So he gave the character a pet tortoise, and the plan was that it was going to be my tortoise, but you have to get 2. And I was like, I don't know if I can handle 2. There wasn't a plan for what to do with him afterwards, so then I adopted these tortoises.
Wow.
So now I have
very nice.
2 tortoises.
How convenient.
Morty and Yukon Cornelius.
Oh,
Are their
wow.
names.
Those are
Those are great
very
names.
regal names for tortoises.
Do they have an Instagram that we could like plug?
They don't, but they should.
Why don't
They
you?
definitely should.
I mean, I haven't thought about
Everybody's
it until
pets
this
have an
moment.
Instagram, at least you have
Because,
tortoises.
Listen,
My
I
imaginary
hate
pet has an
Instagram. Your what?
My imaginary pet has an Instagram.
It's a trap. Don't go to it.
I'll plug it right here.
No.
Yeah.
All right, let's think of the second level. We got
Okay.
the first level, the birthing round, which I
Birthing
think
round.
is
Birthing rap.
I think it's a great way to start
It
this
definitely-
game.
no, it really is.
It's
gonna set
literally
tone.
the start.
Yeah.
Now to set this up though, to get to that birthing round, just so we have an idea of kind of general flow of the game, do we have a setup where you kind of put in any characteristics, or should your character develop
build your
characteristics
character?
based by the choices you make?
I think that. I go with that. Yeah.
Yes, I think develop characteristics based. I'm sorry.
Yes,
yes,
yes, sir.
Something you'd like to say?
Sometimes you don't make choices. Choices are made for you, like race,
Oh.
religion.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's
Very
true.
true.
That's
So
a
you
very
don't get to
good point.
choose.
I'm just gonna say something should be random. Go ahead.
Actually, I love that.
I love
That's
that.
really
Our producer, Ali Naqvi, also co-host from time to time, has just brought up a good point. I think that's a great idea. How do you feel about
I
that?
like that. I feel like I mean I don't know how that works in terms of like a tech element, but there's just like a randomizer that you don't
Oh
know
my
if you're
God.
gonna come out as like boy, girl, black, white, Asian, whatever it is.
I love it. I love it. And you know what's
Especially
great
this
about
day and
that?
age.
What an inclusive game, because that means you could be a hick from St. Louis, and you could just all of that. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, I
I'm
gotta go.
just kidding.
Bye. We're
Just
done.
kidding.
We're done.
You're from
here.
St. Charles,
You're
not from
dead
St.
to me.
Louis. It's very
You're
different.
dead to
But I'm
me.
saying the idea is that no, that's. But you could be somebody from, let's say, Alabama who plays this game, and you might hate, some race, and you might be that race, which might teach you a lesson about
Yeah.
the quality of life and how it's different.
This game is
for
going to
everybody.
change lives.
This game could change lives.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
I like that, and I think that works too in terms of like maybe you have some weird like quirk, or you got webbed feet, you got like big whatever that sort of is. I feel
like
like
it.
you don't get to design.
You don't
That's
get to
really
choose
great.
your
Yeah,
person.
no.
Yeah.
But see, this is where choices get made later.
Yeah.
So then now as we build onto that idea, now we get birthed. So now you're a random, you have no control over your character,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
And then from there, what happens?
Well, and so
You cut your umbilical cord,
cut
you
your
birth
umbilical
yourself,
cord. Uh-huh.
you just saw it. We should, okay, for the fun of it, just for the hell of it, because it's not a real thing at the moment. Let's say we have an array of options.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say the game is all about choices.
That's
Yeah.
what
So
exactly
maybe not a
is.
rusty
Yeah.
nail. That's a great. Well, maybe it is.
Yeah.
There's some crazy
Yeah,
people
Someone
out
could
there.
be- yeah.
I mean, there are people that play games with like making what are the obvious bad choices
Yeah.
just
Exactly.
to see where
Just
it
to
goes.
see the outcome,
And then there's
yeah.
more life to the game, right? Because then
True.
if it's a 20 to 30 hour game, then you can come back and play it in a different way.
Yeah.
Kind of like that new Netflix movie called Bandersnatch.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to promote somebody's Netflix movie, but I just did that this weekend. We did the Bandersnatch.
Did you do just one round, or did you do the?
You know what's interesting? It allows you to, while you're there, it allows you to go back at certain times after you've made a choice where it kind of ends the person's I guess his story. They let you go. Now, do you want to go back to this part of the story that lets you choose this or this, and make a different choice? So you don't always have to go back, but in a way, you could. I think once you do it once or twice, you'll realize how it's always going to pursue you in a certain way.
And persuade you to choose this.
It's going to persuade, because even if you make a bad choice, it's like, all right, well, it's done, and you're like, oh,
because so quick. So I did one round, then I got tired.
It was fun. We had a little bit of time this week, and we were like, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend had no desire to watch this. She was like, this is gonna be dumb. And then she was the one who was like, no, let's make a decision. And it was really involving, and I think that's very different. I don't know if I want every movie to be like that, but I did like that idea that you could just make poor choices. Just see what happens. Choose your own adventure.
Do we want to do the opposite of that, where it's more game driven, but with still those elements of longer sequences of film, longer? You know how there's movie scenes or video sequences.
Oh yeah. This whenever you go into story modes, that sort of stuff. I feel like there can be that there, but if we have this randomized game, then it gets more difficult to create story mode stuff, because that's normally always the same.
Should we go into and I'm just spitballing here, but with the different levels of life, right? The different randomized choices that are made for you, into the exaggerated versions of where you become a very rich white man.
Oh yeah.
And you become a very down in the slums.
I think it can. Oh, that gets complicated.
That does get complicated.
Because in terms of how you create that. You know what I mean? To have such vastly different sort of ways.
Because here's the dilemma. Mm-hmm. Most of our lives are dictated by our family life, our home life, where we've come from. And here's where it gets a little tricky. Is we can't, for instance, say, and I'll just stick with white people, because I'm a white person and I don't want to offend anybody. But let's just assume I grew up in a poor white home, okay? You don't want to put me in a position where as the game, I can only be a poor white person.
Right.
We have to randomize that aspect of it, but we have to be really careful that we don't stereotype any particular race or gender. We don't want the women's job choices to only be a secretary, cooking and cleaning, a flight attendant. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those jobs, but I'm one of these people. I like to cook and clean. I like making my house and tidy. If that's a female job, which I hope we're far beyond that at this point in time, then I'm a female. I don't care, whatever. And I think that's when you write a game like this, you have to be really, especially in today's time, you're really careful of that. So we should it should be open-ended no matter what. And maybe that's the choices you get to make.
Well, and I think maybe it's less about where you end up in terms of being some rich guy or whatever, and it's just about making it to freedom, whatever that is. So your socioeconomic status, and I feel doesn't matter as much.
Okay, good.
As much as it is so if we talk about this first level of birthing to going and let's say you have to fight off doctors because you're an independent baby and you're gonna take care of this yourself, right? So you gotta
just picturing these scenes of these babies fucking pulling out the rusty nail, cutting their umbilical cord, and then stabbing doctors in the neck. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Everybody's dead.
Right?
You don't know shit.
Everyone's getting shanked.
You're a baby. You come out fighting. That's what I think. That's what's gonna make this game fun, right? The baby comes out fighting.
So maybe
there's doctors and nurses that are all trying to swaddle your ass. Okay. And you're no, I'm not doing this.
All right, now I'm with you.
And you get
a
choice, and I like the idea of you getting a choice of what instrument you're going to use to free yourself.
Yes.
And that's the first thing. And then maybe you get a choice of are you going to go and be with your mom and do all that? Or are you going to be nah, fuck this. I'm on my own as a baby.
Man, this baby is hard as fuck all of a sudden.
And then there are different choices that come from that, right? Because then it's hey, you've chosen not to go with your mother. Social services is coming to pick you up.
You made a clear choice to not go home with your mother.
Right.
You stabbed a doctor in the neck with a rusty nail that they provided you for some reason.
Yeah.
But that's great. So that's actually very interesting. Yeah. So how about, to avoid any social economic issues, we could actually start the game and choose that one path for you. And that is, the story is, you're a baby who's been birthed, And it doesn't matter who your family is. You are this person, this race, 100%. This genre, this gender, you whatever. You can even be trans. We can do whatever the fuck you want because maybe down the line you make these choices with your life.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that instead of saying you have a choice, you can end the game and go home. You can go home and live the life and see what happens. Or the game continues and it immediately always starts with a baby standing outside a hospital and the baby leaves for whatever reason. The baby, this stoic ass baby, just smoking a cigarette out, waiting for a cab.
Just
and that's the thing.
Naked.
And that's the thing.
on the corner.
In every choice you make. But that's actually funny.
Flapping in the wind.
Find me a game where you're a naked baby running around. Now, first of all, I don't know if we could be a naked baby. Let's assume they put a diaper on the baby at least. Only because I don't want to. We live in a weird time.
Deal with genitalia.
I don't want to deal with. We don't.
That's
the thing.
Weird, like.
I don't want to have to ask a programmer to draw baby genitalia. I just want to make it very clear.
I just want to see a baby strangle a doctor with an umbilical cord.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But again, so great. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Again, but that's the thing. You can make those choices. Did you ever play the game? Was it Diablo? Was that a game where you where basically you had a choice. You could either be good or you could be evil. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was the choices you made. Yeah, it might be the anti-hero choice, but you could still be a good guy because you made some questionable choices. But if you were straight up like, yep, kill the good guys, well, then you're a bad guy probably. Yeah. And that's how the game set itself.
Well, and if the goal for this, if like your ultimate victory is like, let's say, what?
Personal freedom.
Personal freedom. And let's say we're like going through the stages of life up until 18 or maybe later, whatever seems like a good, hey, I'm out into the world sort of place. If you make the choice to leave the hospital as a baby and do it on your own, then you don't have to deal with separating from like your mother figure later, right? But you're gonna have other
elements
things that you have to separate from.
But maybe
you just die.
But that's the thing. This is where it becomes interesting because now we can develop a set of choices as the game progresses. And that is, you're a baby standing outside the hospital. You've just done whatever. You've just committed a bunch of murderous things in this hospital room. Or you just simply cut your umbilical cord and you were just like, peace out. I'm out. And you just waddle your little ass. You're by the way, you're the most intelligent newborn ever. Yeah. But you just walk your ass out to the street and you just leave. You walk right out of the hospital and that's it. And again, we use this moment to teach people how to play the game. Yeah. This is the controls. This is how you walk. Yeah. Because hilarious, the visual of a baby in a diaper walking around, honestly hilarious and honestly worth trying.
In my brain, I'm like envisioning what's the like suntan lotion baby where like the dog
the Coppertone baby.
Yeah, the Coppertone baby. So she like looks super sweet and really innocent and then is like, I will fucking murder you.
I'm picturing honestly the most like dopey, like brand new born baby just like waddling its butt.
What's that movie
no hair.
With the Boss Baby?
No, older, like Home Alone, almost like Baby's
Day Out.
Baby's Day Out.
Yeah. Yes.
Home Alone, but with a baby. Yeah. Why they made that, I don't know.
Like precedent for this game. Yeah. It's there.
So that's interesting. Okay, so now just so we could progress a little bit, only in the interest of time. We know what our stage one is.
Yes.
Stage one is literally assuming we're getting out of the hospital, or it's our tutorial round. We're getting out of the hospital. What is stage one's boss?
Well, so stage
the bad boss, the big boss.
Who's the end of stage one?
Yeah, I think the doctor.
If it's the hospital
doctor.
Scene,
So the doctor is trying to keep you there, but is he a clinger? Because
he's trying to like keep you and cling you onto your mother, right?
Perfect.
When you're like, I don't need this bitch.
Or it could be the mother as well. I could just see like a mom like, no, come here.
Maybe we only, but that's the thing. Maybe we only see arms because again, I don't want to draw any attention to the type of mother it is.
Oh, that's great.
The whole thing is done from the perspective of the baby, and all we see is arms.
Yeah, and then doctors, there's like masks and all that, so you never really see their
anybody's face.
Faceless.
Almost like a
Or they're good guys.
Like Snoopy, where you don't see the parents. Or
Love
it.
That's great. Okay, so now we've beaten the doctor.
Right.
We've gone out. We're at the hospital. We assume there'll be choices to be made, and as a baby, God knows what those choices could be. But
like breathe.
Now we're surviving.
Poop today.
Now we're in the But that's funny because those are things that this baby has to learn. Maybe we don't go too deep in that. Yeah. But the idea is that, or do we jump ahead in time? Do we?
I think for the purpose of getting, because I think you get to more good stuff whenever you're like in the teenage to late teenage years.
The fundamental life cycle.
Yeah, so I think you jump ahead in time to like other big points, right?
Before 10 years old,
yeah.
15, 20.
So maybe
kind
it's
of
like the first
Hallmark.
day of school, that sort of stuff.
Okay, so you jump to events.
Yeah, you jump to events. I think that's how it works. So like
we have the teacher. That's another clinger. The teacher level.
The teacher level. Well, you gotta be careful with violence
stole
in a
your
school.
block.
That's true.
You know, that sort of stuff. Learning to share / like take what's yours.
Or interact with like other people your age. You know, that interaction.
Interesting. So it's an educational game.
Oh, I don't know that it's educational in any way, shape, or form.
Sense.
But I think, in a sense, it's going to follow what are actual life events and things that we all had to like go through. And you can, kind of what we were talking about with Diablo, you can make choices that seem obviously positive or choices that seem obviously negative.
Yeah. Okay.
And the in between, right? And just sort of see where that takes you. It's a choose your own adventure game. Because I feel like if you choose to escape the hospital and get out and say, nah, mom, then peace, then like there might be some story element that comes in that says like, okay, you made this choice, so now the story is that social services came to pick you up and you've been placed in a home.
You've been placed in a foster home.
You've been placed in a foster home, things
and
like that.
Then the level is like hardcore stage 5 because they're like on to you. Like,
because there's also multiple kids.
There's
maybe you're in an orphanage. I don't know. There's some sort of, you have to have a rags to riches type of concept here.
And I also think, and you could also choose to fight off the doctors and choose to stay with your mom if you wanted to.
Maybe you don't fight the doctors. Maybe
like another like place.
So there'll be so many choices with it.
Yeah, so many. It's a choose your own adventure. I think it's the best way to describe it.
All right, I think we have that set, right?
Yeah.
I think we'll considering to consider some time.
Yeah.
Can we get into like, since you're into voiceovers, right? Want to get into like kind of like casting in a sense, like what kind of voices do you think would work?
Oh, I feel like for the main characters, the voice
should it have like a baby voice, or should it be like the mind, like Bruce Willis?
Like Look Who's Talking.
Look Who's Talking.
Yeah, I think it should be an adult voice. I think it should be.
The voice should just be set for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which it should be Bruce Willis.
Male, female, doesn't matter. Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis is your voice. It was Bruce Willis and Roseanne Barr.
Oh yeah, that's right, Roseanne Barr.
And Look Who's Talking too.
Yeah.
Because then it was dogs and Look Who's Talking now. Why do I know?
But like Kathleen Turner.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like
Kathleen
Turner, that like really husky like female voice. Like she's just smoked and drank whiskey.
A cigarette.
Coming out of the
what's
womb.
the mother in Arrested Development? I love her voice.
Lucille?
Yeah, Lucille Bluth.
Lucille Bluth. Oh my God, what is her name?
The actress.
She's in Archer.
She's in everything.
Her voice.
Jessica Walter.
Jessica Walters.
That's it. She's got a great voice.
But she's got a great voice.
She's wonderful.
I love that.
Yeah.
And especially because she's an older woman, so she has like, you know how whenever you get a little bit older, you get a little bit different vocal quality that starts to happen. So I love that she has that like older, wise voice.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Love that.
What's the guy's name? Who does Bob's Burgers and Archer and all that?
H. John Benjamin.
H. John Benjamin.
Oh yeah, he would be a great.
Honestly,
voice.
if you get a male character, he would almost be perfect because his voice literally works for everything. I could listen to him do anything.
Oh yeah, H. John Benjamin's voice.
Side note,
is
you know he has a
amazing.
jazz album? Hilarious. Just one
Really?
Oh my God, it is a joke album, but you don't realize it.
I love it.
He literally, I don't know the whole story. I'm just regurgitating what I heard.
Oh,
Apparently it was a joke. Apparently he was so he made a bet that he can make a jazz album. Hired a bunch of really great musicians, like jazz musicians,
amazing.
and he was going to play the piano. And he brought them all in, and he's terrible. He does not know how to play. He purposely does not know how to play jazz.
Listen to it.
The album literally, there's a song that's called "I Do Not Know How to Play Piano," and it's literally, it is unbelievably hilarious because he's just terrible, and he's got these beautiful jazz musicians around him just riffing like crazy. Apparently musicians were leaving left and right. They're just like, this is bullshit.
That
what is this
backstory
going
though
on?
is like more reason why people should listen to it.
You should. I didn't even know this existed, and it made me sad. I didn't know this existed.
Look it up.
You should get it.
I'm 100%
You should
gonna
download
look
H.
it
John
up.
Benjamin's terrible jazz album.
Well, and I'm thinking too, because H. John Benjamin has such like Like that, there's a presence to that voice. And I think Lucille Bluth, she does as well, but I'm trying to think if there's
getting the cast of Archer to just do this video.
Aisha Taylor is nice.
Yeah, honestly, the cast of Archer would work perfectly fine for this.
Yeah, or also Katie Shaw, Kristen Shaw.
Kristen Shaw. She does Bob's Burgers.
She does Bob's Burgers. She's a great voiceover.
Last Man on Earth. She's hilarious.
She's so funny.
She's absolutely hilarious. Watch that Chord, Ali. You're in front of the camera there.
Cut that cord. Can you cut your own cord?
Well, okay. So I think we have some good voice
anchors.
Good voice anchors there. I feel like there's a female voice out there that's on the tip of my tongue.
Younger?
But that's somebody that has the same status of H. John Benjamin, right? Because H. John Benjamin is huge.
I mean, you know who could definitely, I'm sure, find the voice for it is so talented. SNL.
Kristen
Kate McKinnon?
Oh,
Kate McKinnon,
yeah.
Kate McKinnon.
I didn't say Kristen Wiig. Yeah, Kate McKinnon.
Kristen
she would be
definitely find a.
Oh my gosh, I love her.
Good.
She could do anything too.
She does anything.
Yeah.
Kate McKinnon, if you're listening, if you're watching.
We love you.
Those are great names.
Yeah, okay, so H. John Benjamin, let's say Jessica Walters, for all intents and purposes, is a female voice.
Absolutely.
Is our main female voice.
And our backup.
Voice.
In a dream world, we have a backup, just in case.
Right.
In case she's unavailable for scheduling purposes.
But also, Kristen Shaw,
Kristen
other,
Shaw's great,
kids that you come into contact, she'd be a great...
General characters.
Yeah, great, voice for those characters.
Comedy name, comedic name.
Yeah.
What about... So here's the thing. So then, does this character have, a... How do we word it? Like a guardian angel, maybe, or a devil,
cool.
or the devil. I don't know.
I
maybe
think
based
both
on choices.
Cool. The both,
That's
yeah.
You have a devil and a telling you what. Maybe that's who's giving you the choices.
Yeah.
Maybe you should do this, or maybe you should do this.
Right.
And then that would be kind of interesting because I was also trying to think, how do we, without being super cheesy,
and then at the end,
which one do you want to do?
At the end, the ultimate stage 5 clinger is that.
Oh, I love it!
At the end, that's the twist.
Brilliant.
I love it.
RC,
love
that's
it.
the smartest thing
love
you've ever
it.
said.
I'm done, guys.
Hey,
Yeah,
he's
done
out.
and done.
No, that's
Done and
that's
done.
great.
That's great,
Actually,
yeah.
that's great because they're
That
all
ultimately-
powerful.
You're seeking freedom from your own personal conscience.
Well, no.
That's so brilliant, though.
Did you ever play
We're our worst enemies
Did you ever
anyway.
play Bioshock?
Oh, I love it.
That's so great.
Did you ever play Bioshock?
I didn't play
I've
It's
that.
my
never
ultimate
played it. I hear it's
favorite.
great.
It's one of the best games
It
in
looks
the world.
beautiful, I hear,
But
yeah.
the twist to the first one, I mean, it's 10 years old basically, but is that you come into contact with this character who kind of following you, guiding you along, and then at the end you realize that he's telling you about this evil person, and then it's end up being him.
Right.
So fun. At the end, you're like, oh my god, this is amazing.
That sounds really great. I've noticed a lot of storytelling lately, as at least some of the stuff I watch, comic book wise, that's a popular way to go. Is that I was watching, was it Flash?
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Flash or watch any of that, but there was a whole season where the arc was this guy they were trying to help, not to ruin it for anybody, but it was like season 2. So if you haven't seen it, you're on
Close your ears.
Yeah.
Close your eyes.
Spoiler alert.
Close your ears.
But this
Your
guy
eyes.
is like the bad guy is you don't know he's the bad guy. I mean, you figure it out over some time, but you know it's got to be somebody within their inner circle.
Yeah. But
you don't know who it is the whole time, and he's the one who's like, we need to do this, we need to try this, and the whole point is he's trying to build Flash's speed up so he can take it. And yeah, so he's acting like a best friend, he's acting like a victim, he's getting beat up, and he's actually a faster Flash. And he needs his power to survive in whatever multiple dimensions. The show gets out of control. It doesn't matter. But it's very interesting storytelling because even I'm like, oh man, how does this shit catch me off guard sometimes? It kind of gets you sometimes.
Yeah.
You're like, I kind of saw something like that happening, but they did a really good job of really pulling it away, going, well, maybe it's not him, but then you're like, it's him.
It's like the movie Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Oh, 100%.
Just kidding.
Yeah, the Chihuahua's evil.
It is.
As all Chihuahuas.
Well,
are.
I'm definitely set. Like,
you feel good about what we got?
I feel really good.
I am pitching this game to James. I'm 100%.
This is
I'm
awesome.
gonna be like, EA needs to make this shit.
If EA was smart, this would be an in-depth, really badass game.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I would play this game.
I want to see that scene.
I want to work out of the womb.
100%.
Joystick A and B.
Listen, if nothing else happened today, we have a great opening scene for a video game. Like a great first
There's some
challenge.
things that'll happen in the
And you
middle.
know
Who gives
what?
a shit?
I feel confident, not knowing every game that's ever been made, but I feel confident that nobody's ever done that before.
And if they have it, not this fun.
Yeah.
Not with a
Luckily,
rusty nail.
this is timestamped, so it's like, hey, we created this.
Yeah, 100%. If I see it happen in any other video game, I'm going to refer back to this moment and be like, give me your money.
I will find the person and kill him with a rusty nail.
Wow. That person's going to die of a rusty nail, and they're going to come right for you.
Well, or they're going to die of tetanus.
A slow, terrible death. It's just like, what, stage 3, they're in college, and then like 6 years later, they find out they've got syphilis or something. Yeah. They got gonorrhea when they were in college.
Off? It's because you got tetanus.
I made some poor choices in college, said game.
Well, Shannon, this is your time to, anything you want to plug? Well, we have a little space here for any plugs.
I mean,
and you mentioned, if you want to tell the audience any way to find out more about you or for your upcoming film, Starfish.
Go see Starfish whenever it comes out. It's an AT White film. Go see that. It's a Shannon Hollander film because I'm in it. And you can find me on Instagram at Shannon Hollander. I like to keep it very mysterious.
It's pretty simple. Yeah, I like that. It's a tough one.
Very mysterious. And I'm also a voice teacher. I teach Voice Club LA.
Awesome.
Here, it's in association with Leslie Kahn and Company. So you can look that up here.
We're gonna cover you entirely up.
Here.
Oh, is this?
But yeah, come and take class, and we'll teach you how to like breathe and use your voice.
I thank God for that.
Woo!
Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Can you give us a plug on our Instagram is at Writers Block Party PRTY.
Oh yeah.
But using like the silliest voice you've ever in your repertoire.
Oh, okay.
Or your most fun voice.
Let's see. At Writers Block Party on Instagram.
And then lean near this microphone a little bit to do it.
Okay.
And it's PRTY.
PRTY. Oh, okay.
Just to make things complicated.
We can give a few takes on this one.
Okay. Hey guys, be sure to check out at Writers Block Party. Party is spelled PRTY on Instagram. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you. That's a wrap. Thanks again for watching Writers Block Party Podcast. You can check out our episodes on Wednesdays at writersblockparty.com. PRTY, because I gotta. It's there forever on the internet now.
Yes.
Shannon,
Oh, very nice.
That was so much fun, y'all.
Yeah.
Good job, Shannon. That was really fun.
Bye.